Welcome to the Pocatello Business Podcast, the only Pocatello podcast focused on providing profits for Pocatello people. If you love our town and love small business, you are in the right place. We interview local legends, learn business, and have way too much fun doing it. You're listening to the Pocatello Business Podcast with your friend, host, all-around great guy, and owner of New Clean Commercial Cleaning, Spencer Ward.
All right, everyone. Welcome to the Pocatello Business Podcast, another episode with a gentleman that needs no introduction, but I'm going to introduce him anyways. His name is Kent Oram. He's the CEO of Idaho Central Credit Union. How you doing today, Kent?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good. Well, I need to roll down I need to continue down your introduction because it's quite impressive. So
you don't need to read all that. That's
no, I won't read.
I'll get bored.
Hit the highlights.
Okay.
So Ken he's an Idaho guy. He grew up in Blackfoot. He went to ended up going to Ricks College. Many of you probably don't know Ricks College, but it is now BYU Idaho.
Yeah. And
he then graduated with his bachelor's in business from Idaho Central Credit Union. Since then, he's been on many boards. He sat on many boards, and now he is the CEO of Idaho Central Credit Union. And most recently, just was nominated in 2019 for the Gonzo Banker Credit Union CEO of the Year. So that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Let alone with ICCU winning Best Places to Work in Idaho multiple times, an S&P Global Best Performing Credit Union, and one of the fastest growing credit unions in the nation. So, welcome, Kent.
Thank you.
Glad to have you on the show.
You said you have a little typo. You said that I got my bachelor's from Idaho Central, but I didn't. I have to plug my alma mater, Idaho State University.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did.
Go Bengals.
Too much Idaho in me. So
yeah, that's all right. That's good.
I was thinking Idaho Central. And, yeah. Good. Yep. All right. Go Bengals, and let's keep going on this. So, Kent, tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, your hobbies. What do you like to do?
Oh man, I'm married to my lovely wife Donnette, and we've been together since 1979, so a long time. And she and I make a good partnership. In the last 2.5 months, we both got new knees. She got a new right knee, I got a new left knee, and so we're rehabbing together. That's kind of fun. Oh, yeah. We have 3 lovely daughters, Holly, Jody, and Noelle. And they have families. Holly's in Blackfoot, Noelle's here in Pocatello, and Jody's out in the Chalice area. 13 grandkids, and that is my hobby, is my family and my grandkids. And we like to boat and play on power toys. And my wife loves horses, and so we have a couple of grandkids who like to do that with her. And that's kind of what we do. We just we spend a lot of time together as a family.
Oh, that's awesome. That's wonderful. Well, Kent, walk us through this. What's your journey been like to get you to the point you're at now with Idaho Central professionally?
It's interesting. When I graduated from college, it was 1983, and some fairly high unemployment at that time. Not a lot of jobs available, and I remember looking diligently to apply my new degree. And after quite a few months, it was like there's just nothing. I'm not gonna. And I was working on a farm at that point in time and doing really well there, and could have kept doing that. But, strangely, I met a guy whose wife was having a baby, and my wife was having a baby, and we were both in the waiting room at the same time. And he said, when you graduate, give me a call and we'll talk. And so I thought, well, maybe I should call this guy. And he was the assistant general manager of Idaho Central Credit Union. So we chatted. And a few months later, they hired me to take over as what was called data processing manager. And that was a really cool title, but there was me and a guy named Bob, who was a part-time night operator. And our computer was not hooked up to anything except power. And, what an amazing transformation that's been in the computer science industry over the past, now 37 years or so. So that's kind of my beginnings at Idaho Central. And over time, I took over most of the back office operations, supervised, and became executive vice president, and I held that title for about 20 years. And when the CEO retired, the board named me to be the new CEO, and back in 2007. And what a time to become a CEO, right in the middle, right at the beginning of a really, really bad recession.
Sure.
I love those kinds of things, though. I see those kinds of opportunities as challenges rather than things to worry about. So I don't sit around wringing my hands. Same as now. I mean, there's some bad things happening right now, but you can either worry about it or you can just go do something about it. And I'd rather do something about it and not worry.
I like that. And we've talked about this in other episodes, but just having that mindset of saying, you know what, it's out of my control. Some of these things are out of my control. It's not worth worrying about. Yeah. And let's just move on and keep rolling this rock up the hill.
Yeah, exactly. And hope it works out. And it's sometimes, I know sometimes it doesn't work out for people, but a lot of the times it does. And some of the most glorious successes in our history have started out in some pretty dark times.
Yeah, I'm sure. So, Kent, you've been in the credit union world for quite some time now. What are some of the common myths about credit unions?
I think one of the things about credit unions that people, I think, mostly know now is, in our past, it was that we had a limited range of service, or that it was hard to become a member, or that it was hard to borrow money, or that our savings rates weren't as good. All those things, the community and financial institution world of credit unions and community banks, we do about the same thing these days. We're organized differently. We're legally chartered differently, but we do about the same things. And so I think one of the myths that's slowly eroded over time is that credit unions are an isolated little club and it's hard to get in. And that's certainly not true at all anymore. And I think most people know that.
Okay.
I think the myth that it's hard to get a loan, that's always held by people who find it hard to get a loan. And one of the things that is cool about that is our credit union, we're really good at helping people work through credit issues. And I think that's a myth that we've eroded just in the last 10 years or so, is that if you have a problem with your finances and you're really ready to tackle it, we're certainly going to help you make your way through that. It's best for everybody to get people back on their feet financially. And I think we're really good at that these days. And that, I know when I retire one of these days, that's going to be one of my proudest things, is that we build a culture where people who are challenged a little bit, we can help if they're ready to be helped. You have to be ready to be helped, but if you are, we can help.
No, that's wonderful that you have systems and processes set up and in place to help those people that are needing that type of help. So, yeah, like you said, but they've got to ask. You can't just
everybody struggles now and then. It's just a matter of making your way through it.
That's right. You can't force the horse to drink.
No.
Okay, well, you probably don't know this, but I have to thank you because when I was in college finishing up my degree, you guys hired my wife and turned her into my sugar mama. So
nice. Tell me her name.
Her name was Callie Ward.
Oh, I know Callie.
And she worked in the marketing department over there.
Yeah.
And it was helpful as I continued to finish my degree. And she loved every minute over there. So.
She's a talented young lady. Graphic designer is what she did for us. A very, very nice job.
Yeah.
I also know your father.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
Carl, and I've known him for a long time. He has a better memory than me, I can tell you that. But he and I both were at Rick's College at the same time.
Yeah, I did. I may have heard that.
I've known Carl for a long time. He's a great guy.
Very, I have to concur on that one. So, well, perfect. Now walk me through a little bit about, everyone in town kind of sees Idaho Central Credit Union winning these awards, growing. What do you contribute these awards to, like, especially your growth and your success, like the what do you call it? The best places to work in Idaho. How do you contribute that?
I think you have to have products and services that people want. And you have to, for a financial institution, your rates have to be in market. You have to be good with interest rates, both on deposits and loans. But at the end of it all, it really comes down to people. And how do you hire people? How do you train people? How do you motivate them? How do you select? How do you promote? Everything there is about people. And I say sometimes to our people that it's always been about you, and it will always be about you. That's where our success comes from, and we know that. And so we try to treat our folks fairly and correctly and professionally, and sometimes we go above and beyond for them and do things that they're not expecting. And I think those all pay off in the end. I'm a people guy. My dad was a general manager of a car dealership, and certainly he was a people guy. And I learned that from him, that people are really the most valuable commodity that we have. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, a lot of people say that human resource is the most valuable thing in a company. But it's one thing to say it, and it's a whole other thing to prove it.
I like that. I like that. What advice would you give to someone who, or those that are listening to this in the, here in the, maybe a month down the road when it comes out,
Yeah.
that are trying to grow a company or just starting a company? What would you tell them about the culture? What the importance of that within?
I've never been, other than in recessionary times, I've never been in a startup. So
Okay.
I don't know sometimes what people who are in startups go through and the feelings that they have. I've seen it from the financing end of it, and some of the stresses that come with that. It's
Sure.
challenging. It's difficult work. You wouldn't have started it unless you thought that there was a reward at the end. And what I've learned in my experience in life is that you have to have people around you who can help you. You cannot do it by yourself. You can't create success all by yourself. You might have the idea, but you'll have to have somebody help you bring it to life. And so treat them right, and make sure that the folks who are around you feel like that they're your tool. You're not just your tool, but your asset.
I like that. I like that a lot. So was there ever a time that, especially as you took over the helm of ICCU, that things maybe weren't running as smoothly, and you ran into some issues that kind of forced you to say, okay, things aren't working here. We've got to change our tactics and the route we're heading in.
Yeah, my experience had been up to the point when I became CEO that recessions in Idaho were short and flat. And so 2007, when I became CEO, then 2008 and 2009 happened.
Yeah.
And as I've gone back in time and I've read the reports that I wrote to the board every month during those years, they got progressively darker. It's like, man, this is weighing heavy. And I never feared that we would lose Idaho Central or that we would go under or something like that. But the challenges were steep. And the members of our credit union really faced some strong economic headwinds. And we were able to navigate our way through that. But I remember a couple times I remember one particular Friday, I believe it was a Friday the 13th, but I'd have to double check. I called together all the management of our credit union and I said, you want to help me save Idaho Central? You want to help me save us? Here's what we have to do. And then I laid out a game plan and we executed that, and here we are. And I don't know that it was as dark as I portrayed it at that moment, but it was kind of nasty. And we made our way through it, right? So here we are.
That's awesome. No, that's great. I love hearing those type of stories, because no matter, typically whatever you're against, and I can't say 100%, but there's typically ways around things and ways to get over these obstacles to continue to find success. So.
Yeah, it's weird about when I compare two kind of interesting recessions. The one in 2008, 9, 10 was economic. It was brought on by, strange things in the housing market, mostly. The recession that we're in now has none of that. The pressures are all still there for a really strong economy. There's just this nasty virus in the way. Mm-hmm. And man, if we could get rid of that, we'd be right back on track. And you can see that as the governor has rolled out these stages, that people have gone back to work fairly quickly. I just wish this thing would go away, but I guess that's I can't make it go away by wishing.
Yeah, well, hopefully the heat of the summer will help push that further away from us. So
I hope so.
So that brings up a good point, though. How did the COVID affect your guys' company, and how did you deal with that within the company?
It's you go back to March 11th. That's the day that we thought, okay, this thing's going to get real. And I remember saying at a staff meeting of just my executive team, we will not close our branch lobbies. Over my dead body, are we going to close our, and 7 days later we closed them because, I'm not dead. So apparently I know how to change my mind too. So we had to close our lobbies. We sent about 700 people home to work from home. Out of our 1,300 people, we had more than half at home.
Wow.
We spread everybody out in the buildings that were left. We're wearing masks, and that's very uncomfortable, especially if you wear glasses.
Yeah.
And you wear glasses, and I know that you put on a mask and you're going to experience condensation really quick. And the people are having to deal with this, and it's just weird,
Yeah.
I wrote a message to my team just yesterday. It's like, I know this is weird. I know it's challenging, but we have to wear our masks. We have to be an example to the members who come in. We don't want somebody coming in that's sick and giving us the virus either. So,
sure.
So we've had to make all sorts of little tweaks, just like everybody else does. But the big tweak was when we closed our branch lobbies, and had to go to drive up. Luckily, we had just invested last summer, a year ago, in some really state-of-the-art technology here at our data center. And we were able to handle a rapid and dramatic increase in electronic and telephone volumes without really straining our systems at all. And so that was good. That was great. We were positioned well for that to occur.
Well, that is amazing. And to transition a little bit about, you mentioned your data center. If you haven't been by their area over there, it is a beautiful little campus you guys have put together.
I know. Here we are in Chubbuck, Idaho, with a beautiful corporate campus. I just actually did a Facebook Live and walked around our campus a little bit this morning and showed everybody, it's in a private page.
Yeah.
Showed everybody the beautiful landscape and all the blooming roses, and it's just gorgeous here.
Yeah.
And then we have to stay inside. It's like, no, go outside and take a walk. And, this is the summer that it's all complete. This is the summer that we were going to celebrate and be able to use our campus. And so kind of, it's gorgeous, but it's also kind of frustrating.
I know, you got barbecues primed.
I know, right?
The sand volleyball pits. Man.
Yeah.
Maybe if you put some chlorine in those water fountains, it'll just
get you by. Yeah, we do have some chlorine there already. So if you wanted to take a dive, it'd be safe. It's very shallow though. Don't dive.
True. That's true. Well, Kent, we started to do a new thing. We are sponsored now, so we have to take a quick sponsor timeout.
Good.
We are sponsored. Pocatello Business Podcast is sponsored by Dell's Outdoor Advertising. It's locally owned and operated for the past 60 years. And did you know that nationally, outdoor advertising reaches more consumers per day than all other media? Billboards work 24/7, bringing your message to customers around the clock. 71% of commuters remember messages they've read on billboards, and 32% made a buying decision within 1 week based on a billboard message. So if you're interested in doing some business or putting a billboard up with Dell's Outdoor Advertising, call 208-232-6886. Again, that's 208-232-6886, and ask for Rob. He'll take care of you. So back to Kent.
Hey, that's great. I know those folks at Dale's, and I also know a little bit about advertising.
I'm sure.
A turning point in our credit union was when we decided to go big with billboards. And we have a rule that you have to be able to read them. Get on the freeway and go 80 miles an hour, and you have to be able to read it as you pass it. And so that creates a particular number of words you can have on it, and the font size and everything. And I know billboards have been a big key contributor, and I'm not getting paid by Dale's as a sponsor. I just know that billboards work.
Yeah, well, that's great. Hey, Dale's, this is just bonus sponsorship here.
Yeah,
so
exactly. Rich can pay me later.
I tell you can just pay us in lunch or whatever you want, Rich.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, cool. So yeah, that's the thing. I actually graduated in advertising and public relations from BYU. I mean, not BYU, ISU, and a minor in business marketing. And I remember that they said try to keep it to 6 to 8 words on a billboard. And one thing I've noticed is people, they use neutral colors, and you're going into the sunset. It just blends in. You can't see it.
Yeah.
Well, you guys with the green, my company, I've got green. It's gonna definitely stand out.
Yeah.
As you put that font down. So.
Yep.
Well, perfect, Ken. If you've got time, in your schedule, we would love to eventually maybe set this up as a quarterly thing that you come on and talk banking and finance with us at the Pocatello Business Podcast. But I know you're a busy man, so we'll see if we can make that work.
Okay, sounds good.
So the last little bit of this show, we kind of do a little lightning round of a few different questions.
Okay.
The first one I like to ask is there anything I didn't ask that I should have?
Oh, that's an interesting, in media training, you're always ready to answer that question. Like I should be giving you a plug about Idaho Central right now. But that's not what this is about. I can't think of anything that you should ask me that you have not asked me so far.
Okay. And I'm sure we'll ask more questions in the future if we can get you on the show. I know you're busy.
Sounds good.
Okay. Well, the next question we like to ask is, Pocatello, we're here to support Pocatello. What is your favorite restaurant to eat at locally in Pocatello?
Well, my favorite of all time went out of business years ago. Remo's closed the doors, and I love Remo's. But my go-to place that I go is Arctic Circle Chubbuck right here by our office building. And I love their chicken cordon bleu sandwich. And I also am a hot dog fan. So, and then when my wife and I go out to dinner, we just go to different places all over there. We have some nice places to eat here.
Yes.
Yeah. And so, but Arctic Circle, that's my lunchtime favorite.
That's your vibe. Okay. Good to know. I'm also a hot dog guy. I tell my wife every day, I complain that back in the day, Home Depot had a hot dog stand.
Oh, yeah.
That was to die for. That's the reason I went to Home Depot.
Exactly. That's how they hooked us, right? I know. They took them away.
I know. I know. Okay. So follow-up question, without the restaurant being involved, what was one of your favorite businesses to do business with locally in Pocatello? Yeah.
So I'm a fan of Barry's, Jonathan and Barry, and everything that they do for the community, not just that they sell recreational equipment, which I like to buy and use, but the people that they are and how much they give back. And we always help every fall with their Cranksgiving and donating turkeys to the food bank. And we have a pretty tight relationship with Barry's because we have a similar mindset about the community that they do. So I love to go to Barry's. I've actually sold a bike there. They were busy, and I know a little bit about bikes, and so I helped a guy buy a bike, and then I took it up and to the checkout, and he said, "Do you not work here?" And I said, "No, but I know bikes." And he's like, "Okay." So anyway, he bought it, so that's good.
And you got paid commission?
No commission. Okay. Just friendship with Barry and Jonathan. That's my
awesome.
Commission.
No, I love Barry and Jonathan. They're great people. I help volunteer at the Spinderella every year, and it's been a lot of fun. So
it is a blast there.
And we got to get them on the show here next. So
yeah.
Well, cool, Ken. Appreciate you being on the show with us today. Now, if someone wanted, we just talked about the myths of credit unions and how it's a myth that it's hard to get into being a member at a credit union. If someone wanted to open up an account with you guys or do some business with you guys, what's the best way to get a hold of you guys and to make that happen?
If you want to do it in person, it's easy to drop by one of our branches and say hi. We're open for business in all of them now.
Okay. Good to know.
The lobbies are open, drive-ups are open. So that's a good in-person way to do it. If you'd prefer to do it online, we certainly can do that as well. Just go to www.iccu.com and it'll be fairly obvious how to work your way through that process. It's not a big deal. We have video agents as well as call center agents. So if you need help, you can connect either through the phone or through video with us and have a FaceTime banking chat if you'd like. So it's super easy to start that process.
Very good. Well, I appreciate you being on the show again with us again, but it's come to the end. And until next time, everyone in Pocatello Business Podcast universe, we'll see you later.
All right. Thank you, Spencer.
Congratulations on spending a couple minutes getting just a little bit smarter, having some fun, and supporting the Pocatello business community. If you are feeling the love, make sure to subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you are.